to Friday. I'm so glad. Let's get right into it. We are going to talk about time and energy wasters. Hello, my name is Kate Wood. I am a life coach. I am a health coach. I'm a personal trainer. I'm a mom of five. And I am so glad to make it to Friday, baby. I bet you are too. But let's talk about what's going on with time and energy, right? So a lot of us feel like very busy all of the time. Like if someone asks you how you're doing, are you tempted to say like, oh, I'm so busy? And I know if you're watching this live, end of the school year, end of sports and all that stuff, it can feel very crazy. I totally get it. But what can happen here is that we feel like we're giving our time and our energy away like all the time. And we feel like at the end of the day, we may feel like kind of frustrated. We can feel almost resentful that our time was used up in a way that we didn't really choose. And we just start to feel like very burnout, very overwhelmed. And so you guys know that's what I love to do. I love to help overwhelmed women overcome overwhelm. That's a lot of O's. I love to help women gain confidence that they can take action and then to pursue their purpose. I love to do that, you guys. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about taking some control of our time and our energy so that we don't feel overwhelmed, right? And so this is one thing that I want you to think about is, I understand that we have circumstances, some of them are outside of our control. But as far as things that are under our control, how much responsibility are you actually taking for that time? Like the time that actually is yours, that is not being hijacked by whatever it is, your kids' soccer, blah, blah, blah. I dare you to take 100% responsibility for it. And that may sound a little bit radical, but when we step into the responsibility, when we kind of step into that power and like, you know what, the stuff I can control, I'm going to do my very best with it. Boom, things start to shift. I promise you. So even if you're like 100% control, like, how about just 50%? Would you start there and then build your way up? I dare you. I dare you to try it. And so you guys, this is what happens when you start to take control of your time and your energy. You feel more empowered. You feel more confident. You feel like you're saving that time and energy and you're using it in appropriate ways that you're proud of. Even if at the end of the day, you're like, whew, that was a lot. You're like, you know what? That was time well spent. I feel proud of how that was used. And so I'm just checking my notes here, you guys. And this is the other thing I notice a lot with women who are overwhelmed. And this is a thought that comes into my brain when I am feeling overwhelmed. It's kind of like, it feels like life is just happening to you and you're just like having to absorb all these things and it doesn't feel good. I don't like it. And so when that starts to happen, I'm like, okay, stop. Let's see what's going on here. So let this be your stop. Let's see what's going on here moment, okay? Drop a note in the comments. I would love to know, have you ever felt this way? Do you feel like your time is just being like stolen by kids and spouse and volunteer and sports and social media and work and all these different things? Let me know. I would love to know about that. So let's go right into our first step here, and that's, I'm calling it count the cost. So a lot of times we kind of blame other people for taking up our time. Like I have a tendency to blame my kids because they're like, Mom, I need this, I need this, I need this. Can we do this? Okay, fair. And then your spouse, you may volunteer at church. You may have a lot of different things going on. Before we say yes automatically, because a lot of women want to be pleasing, they want to be helpful, they want to say yes to their kids and their spouse and all the other stuff. We'll say yes automatically. And then afterwards, we're like, oh no, why did I do that? Like I barely had any time that day anyway. I wanted to be working on this, but now I'm like I have to get snack for the soccer team or whatever. And so we need to count the costs. Like we need to pause and we need to think about, okay, is the time and energy that's involved in this, and be really realistic about it. Like if you need to go to the store, if you need to drive here and there, count all of that in. If it's something's going to take a lot of energy, take that into account. You may be like, this is going to take a lot of time, it's going to take a lot of energy, and it's worth it. Parenting takes a lot of time and energy. And we pray, Lord Jesus, let it be worth it. Let these kids turn out amazing, right? So we can't just always evaluate it off like, is this a good thing or not? Because there's a million good things vying for our time. We need to be like really, really smart and savvy about counting the cost and seeing if we have the time and energy and if we want to use it in that way. We have choices. That's one of the biggest things, you guys, is realizing you have choices. So tip number one, just ask yourself, okay, what's the cost here? Am I setting up appropriate boundaries? And here's another one. Can it be delegated? Like if someone asks you to do something, is it you that has to do it? Can someone help you? Could you hire help? Different things like that. Delegation. Ooh, it's a nice one. We'll have to talk about that another time. All right, guys. This part I call the tale of 2 days, and I have both of these on a fairly regular basis, but I can tell you I have type number 2 day a lot more than I used to, and I hope you will too. So number 1 day is like the life happening to you day. It's like the kind of floating around. I call it a floating day, where you wake up, you are working throughout the whole day, but it's kind of scattered. Like you're just kind of reacting off your environment. So the phone rings, you answer it. You see some shoes on the floor, you go put them away. Oh, but then you pass the laundry room, the laundry needs to be started. And then a kid needs this. And then a fight breaks out between brothers. You know, not that that happens here, but these types of things. And it's constant reaction. And you, like I said, you could be busy the whole day doing good things. But the key here and how you know it was kind of a floating day or a day where maybe you gave some time and energy away in a way that maybe you shouldn't have, is that at the end of the day, you don't feel any closer to your goals. It doesn't feel like growth. I hear moms often talk about like it's just the endless cycle of dishes and laundry and dishes and laundry and fights and dishes and laundry and fights. And we don't want the endless cycle. We like to feel as people made in the image of God, we like to feel like we're moving forward, like we're moving towards something, like that we're getting better, becoming more like Christ, all these different things. So we don't do well when we're stagnant. We get bored, we get grumpy, angry, any of the things. So day number 1 leads to that floating type of a day. Day number 2 is when you have set some priorities ahead of time and you go for them. So this is a problem. Especially like I do a brain dump at the beginning of every week. And I go through and I mark certain tasks as like high priority. Like these things are going to move me forward. These are going to set me up for success for things I'm moving toward, because not everything can have equal priority. There's way too many things. They'll never all get done. And that's okay. But those priority things, if you keep putting them off and not giving them the time and energy they need, you're not going to be feeling good. You're not going to be feeling satisfied. I know because I've done it. Okay. We don't want to live there. It causes overwhelm, frustration, resentment. No. Okay. So set your priorities and then write it down. I would really encourage you. I know a lot of us, we love digital stuff. I use a digital calendar too, but I also write it down. I write down my tasks for the day. I mark the priority ones and I go after those ones as hard as I can. Like those are going to be the ones I do first. Those are the ones if I get off track or distracted by life, I'm going to come right back to the priority. Kids get in a fight, come right back to the priority after that's solved, right? You just keep coming back. You keep recovering. But if you don't have the priority, if you don't have the focus, it gets scattery, it gets floaty, and time and energy, it flies away, right? So you guys, if you're like, I don't know what my priorities are, I kind of don't know, like I don't feel like I have a purpose. Purpose can be anything from starting a business, raising up fabulous children, to feeling peace in your heart, feeling calm, feeling like you have purpose in the world, different things like that. So if you wonder like what I mean by that, I made up a free resource for you. It is called, you guys, I always forget what I name things. Pursue Your Purpose Discovery Kit. And I think you will very much love it. You can get that on trajectorywellness.com/resources. And there's actually a couple other free resources there too. If you want another one instead, go for it. If you want all of them, go for it. But grab that. I think you will love it. Even if you're like, I already know my purpose, I just feel like I'm not really executing and like moving toward it, that's for you too. Okay. So it's either figuring it out or like moving forward in it. So I love that stuff. All right, let's move on to point number 3. This one is really all about energy. And I see this all the time. And before I conquered this, I felt very stuck. And once I learned this, it kind of blew my hair back. It really did change my life, and I hope it changes your life too. And it's going to sound simple, but I dare you to try it. I think it's going to knock your socks off, okay? And so I think people in general, but I find women do this just because I mainly work with women. When we don't have information that we would like, we will sometimes come up with ideas for it that turn into stories that we start to believe and even like worry over. So let me give you an example. Let's say that you texted a friend. She normally texts you back like within 5 minutes, and you have just not heard from her. It's been like a few hours or something. And you start to make up some stories. You're like, wait, why did she not text me back yet? Did I say something to offend her? And then you're maybe checking the last few texts that you sent. Did I tell a joke that like didn't go well? And you're like replaying things. You're getting really worried. You're maybe even trying to word like if she comes and says, "Hey, you hurt my feelings," and you're thinking of all the stuff you're gonna say. But honestly, this is a what if. This is a worry. This is a future thing that you have no clue if it's true or not. And so we spin and spin, and we waste a lot of emotional energy and physical energy on this. You may even start to feel like nervous in your stomach. You might get a headache, all over stuff that may not be true. It could just be a story, right? Maybe your friend dropped her phone in the toilet, right? Maybe her kid got sick and she's not been checking messages. We don't know. That's the whole point, right? All those other things are stories too. So this is what I want you to do. You're going to stop the story, and you're only going to say what is true. So the only thing that you know, and I know for sure, is that she hasn't texted me back yet. And then you stop. I hope that didn't sound really loud on the audio. You stop it right there, and you don't go into story mode. She hasn't texted me back yet. You can even like try to say it in a very matter-of-fact voice to your brain, right? I try to talk matter-of-factly to myself as well. Instead of that, like, what if this, right? She hasn't texted me back yet. That is all I know. That's all the truth that I know. Stop the story, stop the spin. Only tell yourself the truth. Sound like, well, of course. And I'm not accusing you of being a liar, but we come up with things that we're like, what? No, she dropped her phone in the toilet. Isn't that unfortunate? Oh. So tip number 3, just ask yourself, is this true? Is this thought true? Is it helpful? If you're like, I don't know what I'm even thinking about thinking, that's weird. If you're noticing you're having like physical symptoms, or you're just like emotional symptoms, like I'm feeling super frustrated, my stomach feels jittery, my jaw is tense. All those are clues that your thinking may be off. Like, what am I thinking? What's going on here? And it could be, oh, I'm telling myself a story about texts that may not be true, right? And I'm getting upset because I think someone's mad at me, but I have no idea if that's true or not. So is the thought true? Is the thought helpful? Use like physical symptoms, or if you're like feeling agitated, emotions, use those as clues to figure out what you're thinking. So you guys, let's recap the tips. Tip number 1, count the cost, right? Set your boundaries. Is this worth it? Is it not? You can make a quality decision. I know that you can. Don't just automatically say yes. Think about it for a second, right? Count the cost. Number 2, what are my priorities? I'm going to spend most of my time on my priorities. I'm going to hit those first, because I know at the end of the day, even if I only crossed a few things off my to-do list, I can feel satisfied that I spent my time well. It went to a good and worthy cause, right? And number 3, is my mindset right? Am I telling stories? Am I doing like the story spin? Because if I am, I need to knock it off, and I'm going to tell myself the truth, okay? So if you feel like any of these areas, you're like, man, I kind of struggle with that. Like if I could get that under, control, if I could work on that and really improve it, my life would be so much better. That's what I do. That's what I love helping women do. So if you would like to find out more about life coaching and working with me, absolutely set up a discovery call with me. We'll get to know each other a little bit. I'll explain how I work with clients. Super chill, super fun. You can get that at trajectorywellness.com/call. And I did want to let you know too, if you're like, I'd like to work on mindset this summer, I have a new program called Mind and Body Summer Shape Up. shoot me a message, or you can go to my website and check it out. I think you would love it. It's working on both the mind and the body, because I'm, like I said, health coach, personal trainer, and a life coach. I love combining all that stuff together in a beautiful combo. And I think we're going to have a great summer of transformation, of getting our mindsets right, establishing healthy habits. It's going to rock. So join us. It'll be awesome. Have a fabulous weekend. Next week, we are going to talk about making time for wellness, because you deserve it. Take care.